Autism Day. The committee, meets a lot during the year, and we had a lot of discussions about what would be something that would be really powerful, really helpful, really purposeful. And we started with the teen panel, and we had such a great reaction. Plus, it's just been so wonderful for the members of the panel to be able to tell their stories and answer your questions. So it's just a very mutual give and take thing. So anyway, one of my favorite psychologists in Baltimore County Public Schools, Lauren Weingard, has been, who's really a gift to BCPS, has always been the facilitator, along with her co-facilitator, Mary Casalina, and so they're back again this year. We're so grateful to them to sort of keep that whole tradition going. And we have a couple of members who have returned this year and some brand new members from our middle schools and high schools, some from public schools, some from non-public schools. And I want to welcome them onto the stage and thank them for being here. Thank you so much.
All right, hi everybody. We're so excited to be here. You guys just come on in, take a seat anywhere. Yeah. And of course, Mary and I were joking about how last year I was pregnant, the year before she was pregnant, and we were all crying. Well, no one's pregnant, but we're crying anyway. No hormones, just really happy to be here and touched by everything that we just heard earlier. So we're going to get started. We're really excited to be a part of this. As always, it's an amazing day and an honor to even be included in it. We have some returning friends, as Sarah said, and then we have 3 new students, so we're really excited to have some new faces as well as some returning friends, and we have some new questions. So thank you to everybody who submitted suggestions. There were so many good ideas. I tried to condense them and come up with a good sampling of the things that you guys wanted to hear about. So we're going to get started. Just to remind the students, we're going to start at one end, send the microphone down, and then next question, send it back this way. You can pass on anything, so if you don't feel like responding, no problem. And that's it. All right, so we're going to start with having each student introduce themselves, say where they go to school, and then tell us a little bit about their interests or what they're into. So we'll start down at this end. You ready? I'm going to pass the mic down, guys.
Hello, my name is Alex Lindell. I'm 13 years old and I go to Cockeysville Middle School in the 7th grade. I take lessons to clarinet and piano, and I have 3, and I like to play on the computer and play video games and talk to friends. Some of my teachers are right there. Yeah. Miss Mello, Mrs. McMahon, and Mrs. Webster.
Awesome. Thank you, teacher.
Hi, I'm Garrett Parson. I go to Cockeysville Middle School. I'm in the 8th grade and I'm 14 years old. Really like rock climbing, anime, manga, playing video games, preferably my computer, and role-playing games.
I'm James C. Gennaro. I'm 17 years old and I'm a junior at Parkville High. My interests are basically anime, manga, reading, swimming, gaming, role-playing, and I think that's about it. Oh yeah, I'm a little bit hyperactive.
My name is Megan Rona. I've been homeschooled since my 9th grade and graduated June 7th with my diploma. My school oversight is Faith Christian School, Maryland Approved Farm School. I like to make bracelets, watch TV, play the Wii, play drum, sing, type, and draw.
My My name is Jacob Lev. I go to Krieger Schechter Day School in Pikesville, Maryland. My interests are history and the sciences. I prefer history before 1950, and I prefer my sciences in biology and other living things.
Okay, the first question that we're going to start with is, when did you learn that you had autism? Who told you? And how did you feel about it?
I learned that I had autism when I was 9 or 10. I already knew I had ADHD because my parents told me, and when my parents told me, I didn't know what to expect. I was nervous about what if someone found out, and would it get worse, and would I be put in an institution, a worse severe?
I learned that I had autism 2 years ago from Dr. Porter, a psychiatrist, and then by Kenny Krieger, and by East School System. Before then, it was expressive receptive language delay, anxiety, math disability, OCD, depression, selective mutism, and social anxiety. I felt happy.
I was in 5th grade when Miss Riley and Mom and Dad told me when I had autism. At first, I didn't really knew what it meant, and it took me until middle school to really figure out what it really meant and what kind I had. And it turned out that I had ADHD, so there. Sorry for stuttering. Yeah, that's about it.
I first learned I had autism, I think it was about the end of 6th grade. It was like after I'd taken like an IQ test or something, and I believe I found out through that, and my parents told me about it, and I was kind of upset when I first heard about it, but really it doesn't matter, and I just don't really care about it as much now. So.
Well, my parents told me that I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 6 or 7. Just like Jim over here, he didn't know what it was until they told me. Well, before they told me, I was kind of worried what it was. But when they told me what it was, like anxiety stuff and whatever, I was kind of surprised about it. It was kind of hard to deal with the fact that I had autism back then, but I just like being who I am. I don't care if I say I had autistic or whatever. Yeah.
All right, thank you guys. All right, the next question, this is question number 2, if any of the students are following along on their papers. Okay. Have you had trouble making friends? And when you're with other kids, what kinds of things make it more comfortable for you? So what makes it easier as far as making friends and being with other kids?
Well, I had to admit I did have trouble making friends a couple or a few times because I'm not much social back then, and now that when I look into it, I usually get to be friends with a few people when they're nice, and when I'm with other kids, I try my best to be nice to them as well, so that way they can be nice to me. I hope you all know what the golden rule was for your kids. Yeah. It's something I learned back then.
I used to and still do have a lot of trouble making friends, though I've gotten better with it over the years. A lot of the things that help me are like when people are like more like to the point and not sarcastic, because it's harder to understand them, and it's just really stressful. And then also when I'm in smaller groups, that helps because then I don't have to deal with like a bunch of people and worrying that I'm like not getting my point across to everyone. and also when like I have shared interests with people.
For me, kind of like Garrett, I had the same problems trying to make friends. I usually start a conversation with what I have in common and basically wait for their response, and hopefully we become friends afterwards, or I join in the conversation randomly and see where it goes from there. Basically, I just try and see what happens. We don't know for sure unless we find out, right?
I've had trouble making friends. I try to find new people, nice people. Sometimes it's easier to make friends with people who also have autism.
I used to have trouble making friends, but I don't really anymore, but I have trouble keeping them. I have trouble sharing interests, and I don't really have a lot of similar interests to them, like sports. I like to create things and use my imagination. And when I'm nervous, I try to fit in as best as I can.
Okay, this is number 3 on our paper. What are some of the challenges you faced when you were younger, and how have you overcome them?
I have had trouble fitting in with people because, as I said before, I don't share their interests. I also don't really like to be in large groups, which most people are comfortable in, and I panic because there are too many people around.
Making friends in grades were hard. Making friends is easier now since I've been in self-skills groups and meeting people at Disability Express group for teens who plan to do fun things on the weekends.
Alrighty. Back when I was in elementary school, I used to be really gullible. Like, I would do a lot of dares for kids and most of them didn't go so well. Basically, I've learned to say no over time and figure out who was my friends and who are just people who are using me. I mean, if everyone was jumping off a bridge, would you do it? Yeah.
I used to have a lot of meltdowns and have really bad anxiety. What helped me with that was like I've gone through counseling a lot, and that really helps with that. Also, my parents came with things like challenges where I get rewarded for facing my anxiety, like doing things that I didn't want to do, and I would get like, if I did like enough, I would get like a Lego set that I wanted or something. So, yeah.
Well, back then when I was young, when like during my first grade to preschool times, I guess, when I was in whatever, Cockeysville Elementary, I would get upset easily, and sometimes, or mostly have a meltdown. I know it wasn't easy back then. So for autism back then, it's fine. I'm pretty sure you will easily get a meltdown from something negative. Well, from right now, from today, I've taken therapy a little bit, and people just like told me it's like relax. I've learned deep breathing and just think that these challenges are not a problem and they don't affect my day. It's not a big problem. It's going to be okay. It's just that when I was younger, I would get upset easily, like I was young. Okay, I'm a teenager now. What would you expect from a 13-year-old?
And I explained to these guys that that's really the benefit to, especially the parents in the group, that you're giving people a glimpse into, what it could be like when you grow past some of those early challenges. So thank you. Okay. All right. The next question. Some people with autism have sensory problems or feelings of anxiety. What strategies do you guys find helpful for dealing with that?
Sometimes I usually just don't admit that I have anxiety feelings, but my mother keeps telling me that. But anyways, I noticed that I do have a bit of anxiety or problems from wearing certain clothes like fleece, and that's somewhat a problem sometimes because I wear comfortable clothing like this before I'm wearing shorts and a shirt. Oh, and my mom wrote this: hugs make me feel good.
For sensory issues, usually I usually just do things like a little bit at a time to get used to it and get through it. I don't usually, if I can, I'll like take a break from it or whatever. If I'm allowed to, if it's like noise or something, I'll listen to my music or stuff.
I'm still having this problem now. Noise overstimulation and too many people talking to me at once. Usually when it comes to noise overstimulation, I ask someone if I could step outside for a little bit and calm myself down. For too many people talking to me at once, I usually just tell them to stop and let one person go and then the other, etc., and etc. Yeah, that's about it.
Rushing, jumping, and crashing from my mini trampoline, my white blanket, a lavender candle, and trying to find the right medication to help me calm me down.
I have a fear of balloons popping, and I usually cover my ears, fireworks. I go to Ocean City every year for my birthday, and I got used to them. Bugs, I have never overcome them. They scare me. I slept on a stink bug one time, dead. And I also have a fear of going to school because I just worry about being bullied, and I go to teachers and counselors for support.
So sticking with school, what have teachers and other staff, like speech therapists, counselors, or others, done that have been most helpful to you in school?
Teachers are aware of problems that happen with me, and they keep a lookout for problems with kids bothering me and taking videos, doing this, doing that. And luckily, I go to a small school, so everybody sees everything and everybody knows everybody.
My speech therapist has helped me talk in my social skills group. In middle school, I went to a lunch group with the counselor so I can make friends and get away from the noisy cafeteria and not be bullied.
For me, my dad always told me to put my nose in the grinder and get it done with, and just focus on the little things, just so I can have my rewards later on. I mean, focusing on it bit by bit can get you through it easier instead of focusing on the big picture, and eventually you fall apart. Also, regarding what Jacob said about a fear of going to school, who doesn't have a fear of going to school?
Teachers and people, they let me take breaks when I need it, when it's like really loud or I get really annoyed or something, and also I'm allowed in a separate place for taking tests in class and stuff like that. Yeah.
I have taken therapy before, and it has been making me improve a lot to help make me feel helpful in school, being more friendly, get stuff done, don't worry about the big quiz going on. And plus, most of my teachers, or a lot of them, or actually all of them, talk to me and tell me that it will be okay, it won't be the end of the world or the end of the day, end of whatever, and that I have the rest of the day to get going and do well. Also, my school's kind of different because it has one of those sensory breaks where kids with either mental problems or whatever go in there, and you know, they just take a break if they get upset or if there's a problem going on. Punch a bag, go move balls or something. I've been there in a few times when I've overreacted too many, but for my therapy, my Dr. Brad has made a charts to show me on how to not get upset. Like I use it every day in school, and it's gotten me good a lot. So yeah. Also, the fear, Jim, you know about to say who doesn't have the fear of school? I don't have a fear of school anymore.
All right, guys, we have a couple more questions. The next one was a parent submission, and I know it's something a lot of parents struggle with, so I explained to these guys that we need all the help we can get with this. How do you deal with things that you really don't want to do, like homework, for example? A lot of kids don't want to do homework, so how do you get through it?
Well, to be honest, I don't get that much homework from my classes, even though I'm in the 7th grade and I'm doing advanced work and all, but well, sometimes or during parts of the day I get help from my parents, and I take in small pieces, and after I finish my paper I take like breaks, 5-minute, 10-minute breaks, stretch or something, get a drink of water. It helps a lot, even with a kid who doesn't have autism and has a hard time doing homework. It's true.
With homework, I usually listen to music while I'm doing it, which helps me a lot. I work a lot better when I'm listening to music. Also, if I have a lot of homework, which I usually do, because I'm in like all GT classes, Algebra 2, and stuff like that, and so I have a lot of homework, so I just take breaks over time. I also have to do that before I can play video games, so yeah.
When it comes to homework, my problem is what our family likes to call seeing something shiny. I get distracted a lot. And because of that, Mom and Dad always put me in like a room full of any games or computers or electronics. and they usually help me out with the homework. To be perfectly honest, usually walking through it with them gets it done a lot quicker than me. All the luck.
I just do them and he has a book that I wrote in an illustrated called Are You Girl with Autism Me Too.
Turn down the
What I'm proud of is that despite how bad a situation that I'm in, I always keep a level head and pull through it. Also, Jacob, regarding what you said, I'm glad I'm not the only one that sees something shiny.
I'd say I'm most proud of my creativity, and the best thing about me would be my sense of humor, I guess.
I've saved the best for last. What am I the most proud of is one of the most explainable questions I can say. What am I most proud of? Being me. What I like doing is that I am very good at playing music because I think I've taken piano for 7 years. No, it's just it's probably shorter than that, 5 probably, but clarinet's only 2, and I'm also really good at going through computers much. I mean, I type fast, like how fast a person goes, like the usual computer expert of the world does. And plus, I'm really great at creating original work. I've done a lot of original work that I've done in art class. Miss Webster. And plus, I did have a YouTube channel, but that's probably got me the most of my original work because I have 2,000 subscribers on that channel. That's how much people care. Also, what's the best thing about me? What's best about me is that I make people happy. They always laugh at my jokes. I'm humorous. I'm great. I'm amazing. Oh, and Jim, what you talking about?
Oh my God.
Well, what I tell you. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much. This was a gift to all of us. Thank you. Yeah. Your prizes. Okay. Okay. Just one more round of applause. I love this.